Deaconess Regina Onoma Awini, affectionately called Regi, was born on Wednesday the 22nd of January 1958 to Oponin Kofi Onoma of Bremen Bako, in the central region of Ghana, and Madam Sarah Kwadu Wanyako of Ikamfi Atakwa and Bremen Bedum, both also in the central region of Ghana. Regi's father, of blessed memory, was not a Christian and got married to several wives, all of whom bore children. Regi was the fifth of the 12 children that her mother, also of blessed memory, gave birth to. In keeping with the tradition of the Akan ethnic group in Ghana, her name automatically became Akiwa at birth, since she was a female child born on a Wednesday. In addition, her name also automatically became Agnes at birth, because her father had decided to name all his daughters Agnes, after a British Roman Catholic nun, who was a teacher in the village, as he wanted all his daughters to become learned ladies like the nun. Later, her name was changed to Regina, after another Roman Catholic nun in the village. The beginning. As a growing child in the farming community of Bremen Bako, young Regi started having an inclination towards education, and would cry anytime she was taken to the farm, and nothing would appease her to stop crying until she was taken back home. With time, whenever her mother was going to the farm, she would leave Regi with her maternal auntie, who was a primary school class 1 teacher, and her auntie would always take her along to school when she was going to work. Her auntie quickly overcame her surprise, allowed Regi to answer the question, and she answered it correctly. Her auntie reported what had happened to the head teacher, who discussed the issue with the other teachers, and a bold decision was taken to admit her into the primary school class 1, and that was how her formal education started. Regi, who was very studious and would read any reading material that she could lay her hands on, did not disappoint the teachers, who took the bold decision to admit her, as she went on to excel in the primary school, and proceeded to the Bremen Bako Middle School, where she completed with a distinction in the middle school leaving certificate examinations in 1974. Professional career. With a burning desire to further her education, Regi traveled to Kumasi in 1975 to live with her maternal uncle, who was a police officer. Not long after joining her uncle in Kumasi, she applied for, and was admitted into the St. Patrick's Midwifery Training College in Afinso to study midwifery. After completing the midwifery course, she worked at the Kamodzi Hospital in Accra for a short period before joining the Koforidua Regional Hospital under the Ghana Ministry of Health, as it was then called, where she worked in the maternity department as a midwife. Still eager to improve upon herself, she combined her demanding midwifery duties with private studies, wrote and passed the General Certificate of Education, Ordinary Level Examination, and then applied and was admitted into the Koforidua Nurses Training College in March 1990 to pursue the state-registered nursing course. After completion in 1993, she was appointed as a staff nurse or midwife and continued to work in the Koforidua Regional Hospital until 1995, when she got a transfer to the Mamobi Polyclinic in Accra, Ghana, to join her husband, Paul Manley Awini. At the Mamobi Polyclinic, she worked in the maternity ward as a midwife, and because she loved teaching, she took on the additional responsibility of an in-service educator, rising from the position of staff nurse and midwife through the positions of senior staff nurse and midwife and nursing officer to senior nursing officer. She was transferred in 1999 to Ashimota Hospital in Accra, where again she worked in the maternity ward and doubled as the hospital's in-service education coordinator, a role that she was so passionate about, worked so hard and traveled regularly in the performance of this role. It, therefore, came not as a surprise when, in recognition of her hard work and commitment to duty, she was promoted in 2001 to the position of a principal nursing officer. In October 2002, after attaining almost all that there was to be achieved in the field of nursing and midwifery in Ghana, Regi decided to explore new challenges in her career in England. She successfully went through an adaptation course, and was given an appointment at the Aintree Teaching Hospital, where she worked for 18 years before she retired. Family life. Regina was a great family woman with a strong personality that united her family as she organized the home into a Christ-centered one where discipline, order, hard work, and all the virtues that one could think of reigned. So it was not surprising that immediately she started working. She took all her younger siblings from the village to Koforidua to live with her and started playing the role of a mother to them. When she started having children of her own after she married, the youngest of her siblings and her own children grew up together more like siblings. The way she ran the home was simply admirable, as she managed the family budget well enough to meet the needs of the family. With her background as a nurse, she was an advocate for healthy diet and would be fondly remembered for her most popular phrase, "Mind the animal fat, and watch your waistline," said to discourage the eating of junk food. To ensure that the family, particularly her husband, 5 of 5 children and any extended family member who lived with them ate healthy diet, she regularly cooked food for the family at home to prevent anyone from ordering food from outside. There was always enough of her healthy food at home for visitors to her home. She had a hard line, an uncompromising stance about the propriety of the behavior of her family, and this was extended to any family member who visited or came to live with her. She demanded that people should lead honest lives that reflected the teachings of whichever religion or whatever they believed in. She was of the conviction that if Christians lived strictly in accordance with the teachings of the Bible, believers of other religions did the same, and even those who don't believe in the existence of any supreme being would live in accordance with their conscience and convictions, the world would transform into a better place for everyone. She also believed that there was no way she or anyone could change everyone in the world to start being faithful or honest, but everyone had a chance of changing one's basic sphere of control, which is the family. It was from this perspective that she insisted that every member of the family lived right. So strict was she on these matters that, when her children were much younger and their little brains could not comprehend her principled stance, they asked sometimes if she was truly their biological mother. When they grew older, however, they realized she meant well all along and wanted them to grow up into responsible adults with integrity. As someone who knew the benefits of exercise, she loved to stay active through exercises and brisk walking among others, and encouraged all those who were around her to do likewise. When her 5 children were growing up, she demonstrated this by instilling a habit of brisk walking into them, as she disliked sluggish walking. She would take them out for walks, during which she urged them to chant along with her the phrase, "Walk like a soldier, walk like a soldier, walk like a soldier," throughout the walk. Relationship with God. Regina's parents were not believers in the Christian faith, but from a very young age, she developed a keen interest in Christianity and religious teachings in school. She saw adverts for Christian crusades in the village, and would sneak out of home to attend the crusades alone. During one of these Christian crusade services Regina attended, when she was about 11 years old, she was given a free Bible, which was her first ever Bible. She heard about the importance of having the Word of God embedded in one's heart, but her young mind did not understand how the Word of God could be embedded in her heart. She, therefore, interpreted this literally as ingesting a piece of every page of her Bible into her body. She tore a piece of each page of her first Bible, chewed and swallowed these, and believed she had the Word of God in her body and embedded in her heart. Simpliciter. She played an active role in church, serving in various roles, and later became a deaconess. Attendance of crusades and conventions, as well as all nights and church services on Sundays, were activities on the church calendar that she gave serious consideration, and attended as many as were possible, given her work schedule. She ensured that family devotion was a regular feature every evening in the home, where everyone, including the children, took turns to lead. Regina loved to sing hymns, praises as well as worship songs, and she did so from memory. Memories of her sweet, beautiful singing voice would be cherished forever. And she loved to do was to strike conversations with people around her, whether she knew them or not, and depending on the age group of the people, that would be of service to God and impact humanity positively. In the case of the older generation, taking charge of conversations, steering the communication from one interesting issue to another, and could sustain this for as long as the occasion permitted, but it failed because she gave out the items at little or no cost to those who could not afford to pay. Her feeling of compassion, love and care for the people simply overcame any desire. She had to make profit and keep the business running. When this happened, she did not give up, but offered free health check services, including blood pressure, pulse, weight and body mass index checks, as well as free health advice to people in her community. You will forever remain in our hearts.